If we want to spread our libertarian principles of natural rights, individual liberty, property, laissez-faire market capitalism, and self-government, that the way to do that, as the great Ron Paul said, is to show the world how it's done and lead them by example. The worst thing you could do in the world is drop cluster bombs on people and then tell them that that is freedom and liberty and democracy. And our country right now is moving far to the left, economically speaking. The younger generations are convinced of socialism because they're convinced it's the opposite of what we have now. This most corrupt and blood-soaked capitalism. They can't imagine trying to sell it to the world who would never want to buy it. And they've completely blown their opportunity. Whereas, if they had ended the terror war by Christmas of 2001, as they could have, and spent the rest of the time even critically lecturing Islamic countries about the way that they do things wrong. There's horrible customs of female genital mutilation in Kurdistan and in Eastern Africa. The freedom of religion in Pakistan is the most shameful thing in the world. They stone people to death for converting to Christianity. As Americans know very well, because our government's been propping them up for 20 years, there's a horrible epidemic of warlords raping young girls and boys in Afghanistan. There are all kinds of problems. Saudi Arabia, our closest allies over there, cuts the hands off of thieves, stones women to death on accusations of adultery, and even crucify people and behead them for charges of witchcraft and sorcery, which you get it that all those people have to be innocent because there's no such thing as that. And that's our closest country that we support in the region. And the opposite of that would be to simply do like Ron Paul said, show the world by example how we're supposed to be. And then if we want to criticize them honestly and faithfully as fellow humans, that they're not doing liberty right, they're not following our Bill of Rights and our example well enough, well, then we'd be doing that from a position where we're not standing in a swimming pool of the blood of innocent people. Where in fact, the worst thing about Pakistan is America's war there. And the worst thing about Somalia is America's war there. And the worst thing about Iraq and Syria and Yemen and Libya, America's wars. And so what leg do we have to stand on to criticize them for stoning a woman to death when we'll drop a Hellfire missile on her car? And not all libertarians are this way, but I am for world revolution. I am for spreading the ideology of libertarianism to the four corners of the planet Earth. And I think it's the future of mankind, if we're to have a future, is that we're going to respect each other as individuals. As you guys know, all those borders are drawn in the wrong places. And the world needs liberty so that we don't have to fight about all of this. And if we are going to spread that message, we're going to have a government here that acts like the limited constitutional self-government operated machine that we claim that we're trying to get the rest of the world to follow our example on.